Myself, Dr. W.B. Gulmazek from Kamla Nehru Mahavidyalaya, Nagpur. Today I am going to discuss the NMR spectroscopy. What is NMR spectroscopy? We can say that it is the study of radio frequency radiation by nuclei is known as the NMR spectroscopy. So source of radiation is a radio frequency radiations, and here we are going to discuss today in the presentations that number one, that is what is the spinning nucleus and spin angular momentum, after that magnetic moment and energy state of proton in the magnetic moment, and also we are going to see the absorption spectra of NMR spectrum, and after that the low field and high field of a spectra, and also we are going to see the interpretation of NMR spectroscopy, in which there are four important parts, and that four important parts are the what is the number of signal, position of signal, intensity of signal, and splitting of signal. So all these parts we are going to see in today's presentation. So the topic is NMR spectroscopy, and in this NMR spectroscopy we say that it is the powerful tool for the organic chemist because instrument become very easily available. This technique is only applicable to those nuclei which possess spin quantum number greater than 0. This is the important condition. It is applicable to those nuclei which possess a spin quantum number greater than 0. The most important of such nuclei as far as organic chemistry is concerned is a 1H proton, 13 carbon are the nuclei, both of which have the spin quantum number of 1/2. This spectroscopy therefore involves magnetic energy of nuclei when they are placed in a magnetic field, and the transitions occur in the wave region of the spectrum. And in general we can say that study of radio frequency radiation by the nuclei is known as the NMR spectroscopy. This method of NMR was first developed by E.M. Purcell and Bloch, and the subject has been developed very rapidly in the recent year, and today it is widely used in the laboratory, and it is more superior than IR and EV spectroscopy. And also we know that it is the well-known fact that spectra given by this spectroscopy may be described in terms of number one, frequency of spectral line or bands, intensity of the bands, and shape of the bands. As we know that radio waves have frequency between 10 to the power 7 to 10 to the power 8 hertz, and the energy associated with such wave is found to be between 10 to the power minus 18 to the 10 to the minus 19 erg. So this is the just introduction of this NMR spectroscopy. And so here this is the powerful tool for the organic chemist, and this is slight somewhat introduction. And next part we are going to see the spinning of nucleus and spin angular momentum. So spinning of nucleus and spin angular momentum, in this case we say that nuclei of the atoms are composed of protons and neutrons. There are net spinning of protons and neutrons. Both have the spin quantum number of 1/2 and the distribution of positive charge. If the spin of all the particles are paired, there would be no net spin, that is L equals to 0. For any nucleus, the possible values of spin angular momentum are given by the equation shown in the slide. So spin angular momentum is equals to L into L plus 1 to the power 1/2 h upon 2 pi, where L is the spin quantum number of the nucleus, and they can have the values 0, 1/2, 1, 3/2. And now there are three principles for the nuclear spin. Number one is the nuclei in which the sum of the protons and neutrons are even number. Then the value of L is integral, that is L equals to 0, 1, 2. And second point is that nuclei in which the sum of the neutrons and protons are odd number, then the value of L equals to, they have the value 1/2, 3/2, 5/2. And third principle is that a nuclei with even number of proton and even number of neutron has 0 nuclear spin, and therefore this is also given in the following next table, that spin quantum number for various nuclei. So in that case the spin quantum number is 0, and so these are the three principles based on the nuclear spin. And now this table shows spin quantum number various nuclei. and here number of neutron, number of protons, both are the even, then spin quantum number value is 0. And examples are given of the nuclei. When it is even and odd, the values can be there 1 by 2, 3 by 2, like that. Examples are given when there is a 1 by 2 proton, 19 fluorine, 31 phosphorus. When 3 by 2, 11 B, 979 Br. Odd and even is there, then 1 by 2 and 3 by 2 are the spin quantum value. When odd, both are the odd, then the spin quantum number is 1 and protons are here. But now here we are interested for the proton nuclei which have spin quantum number value 1 by 2. It is therefore evident from this table that if the value of L is 0, the nucleus does not spin and hence cannot be observed by NMR spectroscopy. Similarly, nuclei with L value greater than 1 by 2 each give rise to a broad NMR line and that are not easily studied. So these two things are discarded, and now we shall be mostly concerned here with the nuclei having L equals to 1 by 2 and especially the proton. For example, hydrogen nuclei consist of only one proton and consequently it can have the spin either they have plus 1 by 2 or can have minus 1 by 2 depending upon the direction of the spin. And we know that angular momentum is a vector quantity or property. As such, it cannot point in any direction. So in the next slide we are going to see here the vector property, but in this case it can be point only in such a direction that the component along the particular reference direction along the edge z direction are either all integral, that is if L is integral, or all half integral. Of L is half integral, then the proton has L equals to 1 by 2. Thus there can be two z component having the quantum number m L equals to plus 1 by 2 or minus 1 by 2. This means that spin angular momentum of proton can have two orientation relative to the z axis as shown in the in this slide. So here so there are the two spin so shown here, and here is shown in this way. So two spin angular momentums are there and along the z axis, and they have the value minus 1 by 2. L can have minus 1 by 2 or plus 1 by 2. So and next important part of this NMR is a magnetic moment. So what do you mean by magnetic moment? Here now angular, according to the quantum theory, the possible values of spin angular momentums are given by the equation. So according to this quantum mechanics, here the spin angular momentum value can be determined by using this formula as you have seen in the previous slide. L into L plus 1 to the power 1 by 2 into h upon 2 pi, where I is the spin quantum number, h is the Planck constant. And now if here, since proton and neutron possess magnetic properties, they are associated with the magnetic moment mu for the nuclei, and therefore the relation between magnetic moment and spin quantum number is given by the equation. So this magnetic moment mu is equals to gamma into spin angular momentum. So this is the spin angular momentum, so put the value here and into gamma. So magnetic moment and the spin angular momentum can be related by this equation. So where here mu is the magnetic moment of the nucleus and gamma is the gyromagnetic ratio, and it is fixed for the proton. Value is 26750 for the proton, hence to be available for the study by the nuclear magnetic resonance. Nucleus must possess angular momentum and associated with the magnetic moment, and therefore the nuclei like 1H, 19F, 31 phosphorus nuclei can be easily studied with the NMR spectroscopy. 13 carbon, 14 nitrogen also possess angular momentum as well as the associated with the magnetic moment, but due to the low isotopic abundance and poor inherent sensitivity, they are of less importance. They are not much more importance. So origin of the nuclear resonance has however been presented by the hydrogen nucleus and proton with the spin of 1 by 2. So next we are going to see that the energy state for proton in a magnetic field. So when the nucleus with magnetic moment is placed in a magnetic field H0, the two energy level become separate corresponding to the ML equals to minus 1 by 2, ML equals to plus 1 by 2. Corresponding to the energy, E1 and E2 are given in this slide here. So E1 equals to minus 1 by 2, this is the equation. E2 equals to plus 1 by 2, and this is the equation. So E1 is less than E2. The energy of these two states represented as shown in the figure. So here is no field, but when the magnetic field is H0 is applied, then they are separated into two states, and this is the lower state, higher state, plus 1 by 2, and this is for minus 1 by 2. So initially no field, but when the field is applied, magnetic field, then the energy state are get separated, shown in this slide, in the figure. And nucleus absorb energy while going from E1 to E2 state. So this is the, suppose this is the E1 and this is E2. So when energy is absorbed, when energy is absorbed from when the while going from E1 to E2, and emit energy in coming from E2 to E1, and the difference between these two energy state is the E2 minus E1, that is delta equals to E2 minus E1. So this is the, and these are the energy state. When the magnetic field is applied, then they are separated. And next important part of this NMR spectroscopy is that the absorption signal and NMR spectrum. As we know that we can also see what is the principle of NMR spectroscopy. So when a substance is placed in a magnetic field of constant strength, then obtain the spectrum in the same way as we obtain in case of UV and IR spectrum, that is pass the radiation and changing the frequency through the substance and observe the frequency at which radiation is absorbed. In practice, however, it has been found that it is more convenient to keep the radiation frequency constant and to vary the strength of magnetic field. And at some value of the field strength, energy required to flip the proton matches the energy of radiation. Absorption takes place and signal is observed. Such a spectrum is known as nuclear magnetic resonance or NMR spectrum. Note that the frequency at which absorption occurs depend on the magnetic field, and the proton actually fills the field. Clearly, effective field strength different for different set of protons. And so this is the one that it is the energy required to flip the proton, and this is known as the absorption signal in the NMR spectrum. And the number of signal at a different applied field strength is equal to the different set of equivalent proton. So here, that is the absorption signal is observed when the some amount of energy. So we have to keep the radiation frequency constant and vary the magnetic field, and absorption take place. It gives the spectrum, and this spectrum is known as NMR spectrum. So this is the absorption signal and NMR spectrum. And next important basic terms are there two. One is a low field and second is a high field sources. And we know that in the principle of NMR spectroscopy, it is possible to satisfy the resonance condition by altering either magnetic field or the ratio frequency. Most spectra are recorded by varying the magnetic field while keeping the radio frequency constant. Commonly available instruments are 60 MHz, 100 MHz, 220 MHz. Nowadays 300 MHz instrument is also available. Now field and frequency increases in the same direction. Conventionally, this is from left to right, and in the NMR spectrum, when we are moving from left to right, it is known as a field. So when moving from here from left to right, so high field. When moving from right to left, it is a low field. So this is the signal generally observed in the NMR. So this is found in a downfield direction, and this is the direction shown. Here is a downfield, this is downfield, and this is the high field. So generally the NMR signals are obtained in the downfield or in a low field as compared to the high field. And so here this is the one figure shown what is meant by upfield and what is the downfield. So left side, right to left downfield, left to right is a high field is there. So these are the two states. And in the next slide now we are going to see the important part, that is the instrumentation, which is called the NMR spectrometer. This is the some arrangement is shown here in this diagram. That is here is a sample. Whatever the sample we have to measure, we have to take the NMR spectrum, and here is a 6 megahertz radio frequency generator. So here the frequency of radio frequency of 60 megahertz they are here generator is there, and here is a detector and amplifier, and variable magnetic field is here. This is north pole and south pole, and a few ppm. So what is here? So variable magnetic field, we have to vary this and we have to keep this constant, either these two, and sample holder is there, and here is a recorder chart. We get the signal automatically on the computer. So recorder is there which record the NMR spectrum in the form of signal. And we know that here we have already know that there are two ways to scan NMR spectrum. By number one, by keeping the magnetic field constant and changing the frequency of radio frequency oscillator, and second way is by keeping the frequency of the radio frequency constant and changing the magnetic field. In practice, however, NMR instruments which work at constant radio frequency are used, since they are easier and cheaper to construct. Such instrument and now consist of some important parts are there of the instrument. First part is the powerful electromagnetic whose strength can be varied. So powerful electromagnetic sources should be there. And second part is radio frequency generator. Third part is a detector which monitor the absorption of energy and amplifies the electronic signal. And fourth term is the recorder, which record the spectrum on the chart paper, which is calibrated in the frequency and ppm. And last term is that 5 mm wide long sample tube. This is very important, and the sample is dissolved in a suitable solvent which does not contain proton. Usually deuterated solvent we have to use here, and is after that we have to record the spectrum. And generally this is the arrangement of the NMR spectrum, and different parts shown here, and we get automatic recorder chart is there, and we get the signal. And the solvent used in NMR spectrums are generally deuterated solvent, and most widely used solvents are deuterated chloroform, deuterated benzene, or deuterated DMSO-D6 means dimethyl sulfoxide, and some others, acetone also there, deuterated acetone. So these are the solvents which do not contain proton, can be used in the NMR spectroscopy. So remember these are the solvent, because if they contain proton, then they also give the signal. Therefore, other than that, we have to use the solvent like CdCl2 here is given, deuterated chloroform, deuterated DMSO-D6 can be used as a solvent in the NMR spectroscopy. Now main part of this NMR spectroscopy is the interpretation of, once we get the NMR signal or NMR spectrum of the compound, then how to interpret the NMR spectrum. So here there are important 4 things are there, and these 4 things are: number 1 is the number of signal, number 2 position of signal, third intensity of signal, and the last is the splitting of signal. So number 1 is number of signal here. These give an idea about the number of different kind of proton present in the molecule. So here important things is that first point is number of signal, and this give an idea about the number of different kinds of proton present in the molecule. For example, ethyl alcohol, CH3, CH2, OH. So CH3 proton, CH2 proton, and OH proton. So different types of proton 3 are there. In this way, so it gives idea about the number of different kinds of proton. So number of signal, how many signals are there? 1 signal, 2 signal, or 3 signal, like that. Number 2, the position of signal, which give us an idea about something about the electronic environment of each kind of proton, means whether it is acetylenic or whether it is ethylenic or benzenic. So what are the types of protons are there, what is the environment of each kind of protons, okay. And third is the intensity of signal, which tell us about how many proton of each kind are there. So similar types of proton, but they are absorbing at the same intensity, and therefore they give the idea about how many proton of the same kinds of present in this spectrum. And fourth is the splitting of signal into several peaks. So one signal can be split up into number of peaks. When they are split up into two peak, which is called doublet. When it is split up into three, so what is singlet may be there, doublet, two peaks, and splitting into three, triplet, quartet, like that. So depending upon the splitting and depending upon the nearby proton, with respect to the, it is a splitting is take place with respect to the proton present to the nearby carbon or nearby proton. So it depends upon. So these are the four important parts of the interpretation of NMR spectrum. Number one, position, number of signal, position of signal, intensity of signal, and splitting of signal. So important first part, that is the number of signal, that we are going to see here. When we are going to determine the number of signal and how many number of signals are present in the compound can be identified or can be calculated. But before that, we should have to know what are the equivalent proton and non-equivalent proton. So the proton with the same environment absorb at the same applied field strength. Proton with different environment absorb at different applied field. A set of proton with the same environment are said to be equivalent. The number of signal in the NMR spectrum tell us how many set of equivalent protons are present. That is, how many kinds of proton present in the molecule. And it is also noted that magnetically equivalent protons are simply chemically equivalent. What is the magnetically equivalent protons are simply chemically equivalent. For example, now here these are the examples are shown here about the equivalent and non-equivalent proton. But now here first example is CSC, CH2, Cl. In this case, there are two types of proton. One is methyl proton, second is methylene proton. So in this case of ethyl chloride, there are two NMR signal and the different protons are shown by alphabet A and B. So here this is A for this and B for this. So AB means two NMR signals are there. Now in case of isopropyl chloride, so CSC, CHCl, CSC. So in case of this CSC and this CSC are AA because both they have the same environment, because Cl is here, CH is here and Cl. So both the sides having same environment, therefore they give only one signal AA and CH give one. So there again there are two NMR signal. In case of this N-propyl chloride, third example, one signal for CSC, second for CH2 and third for CH2. This CH2 are similar, but this CH2 attached to Cl, this CH2 attached to CSC. So environment is different, and that is why they give the CH2 groups are same, but they give the different signal. So A, B, C. There are three NMR signal. Now in case of fourth example, acetone, CSC, CO, CSC. Again now in case of acetone, here A, because both the CSC groups are equivalent protons. They are equivalent proton, therefore they absorb at the only same at the same position, and therefore the NMR signal is only one. And next example 5, CSC, CH2, NH3. So all the three groups are different, protons are different, therefore they give A, B, C, three different NMR signals are there. And this is the example of cyclobutane, and they give all the groups are equivalent, and now therefore they give only one NMR signal. So these are some examples of the NMR signal first in the interpretation. And now, so now here second examples here. Now we are going to see the equivalent protons are represented by the same alphabets, and magnetically equivalent protons are simply chemically equivalent protons. To be chemically equivalent, proton must be stereochemically equivalent. From stereochemical equivalence, following examples we are going to see here some examples. And here first example is given, isobutylene. Now this is CH11C and here CST. So isobutylene, 4 carbons are there, and this is CH2. And now here this CST and CST, this is stereochemically equivalent, and therefore they have only one signal, and these two are equivalent because environment is same, therefore they give only two NMR signal. But in case of 2-bromopropene, CST is here, Br is on the second carbon, so propene is there, 2-bromopropene, and CH, and this is CH2 group. But now this is different and this is different, therefore this is one proton, second and third. These are looking same, but here if you see here on this side, the environment is different, therefore they give 3 NMR signals. In case of vinyl chloride, here now see here carbon-carbon double bond, H, HGl and Cl. Now in case of vinyl chloride, the NMR is different. If you can see in this way or in this way. Therefore they give 3 NMR signal A, B, C. In case of this compound methyl cyclopropane, this is cyclopropane, methyl is there, methyl cyclopropane. So one for this AA, this is BB, similar, this is third and this is fourth. So there are 4 NMR signal. So these are some examples of the NMR signal. So out of 4 important interpretation, number 1 is the number of signal. So number of signal give us an idea about the number of different kinds of proton present in the molecule. So today we stop here, and in today's presentation we have discussed about the basic idea of NMR spectra, NMR spectrum, absorption spectrum of the NMR spectroscopy, nuclear spin and nuclear spin angular momentum. After that we have seen what are the interpretation of absorption spectra or NMR spectrum. So NMR spectroscopy is nothing but the study of radio frequency radiation by the nuclei is known as the NMR spectroscopy, and there are 4 important interpretation that we have seen. Out of that, first important is the number of signal, and number of signal give us an idea about the different kinds of proton present in the molecule.